Hey, it's Central Valley Business. I'm your host, Steve Walling. My guest for this segment is Erick Carson with Nuvia Water. Erick, welcome to the show. I'd shake your hands, but, you know.
I do know.
Yeah.
Strange days we live in.
There you go. But we're talking about water, and given the strange days that we're living in, water is kind of an interesting topic. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that, because of various issues, they want to get bottled water from the store, and some of that bottled water, maybe more than some of that bottled water, maybe a lot of that bottled water is gone or is just kind of recycled water that may have stuff in it that they'd probably do just as well drinking out of their tap. So we're talking about a program to have something better than that in my own home, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, on the topic of bottled water alone, thank you for having me on, Steve.
Yeah.
On the topic of bottled water, I ask clients all the time, I'll just hold up whatever they have, and I'll ask them, what do you know about this water? What do you know beyond a shadow of a doubt? Mm-hmm. And the answer is always nothing.
Right.
We don't know where it came from. We don't know what's been done to it. We don't know what hasn't been done to it.
Yep.
But we do know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is an expiration date on the bottle because that bottle is most of the problem. That bottle will leach into the water over time. And
you mean that plastic is not good for the inside of my arteries? And
no, because it's a petroleum product.
it is.
And so it has an expiration date, but that expiration date only works if it's in the dark, kept in a temperature-controlled room. If you put it in the refrigerator, it rapidly expires, and if you go out in the sunlight, it expires.
And you leave it in the seat of your hot car during a summer day, and then you're going to get the very best benefits that plastic has to offer, right?
Right. And, you know, there's a substance called BPA and BPS, and, you know, it's linked to various health issues, and we want you to avoid that.
My wife is constantly reminding me of that, so, you know, she's much more aware of that than I am. But she is aware and kept me aware. So, Nuvia, tell me about Nuvia.
Well, Nuvia's been around about 10 years. In fact,
Okay.
I think it is 10 years this year. Was started in Corona, California, believe it or not.
Well, that's kind of a toxic name, but
it's one of those words. But the owner Ron, he was in the water industry for a long time, and there's certain aspects of it he just despised. Mm-hmm. So he made it his mission to literally fix all of that and create a culture, a very Christian culture, I might add, where we all answer to him. And literally, he wants his mission statement is we want to be the apple of water, which is a very huge way to look at things. We want to have the best quality systems delivering the best water with the best warranty at the best price.
Right, okay.
And the reason why I joined them is because it was really hard to talk me out of the company I used to work for. But he had all the things I needed to be able to represent them. And I've been the area manager now for the entire Central Valley for a couple of years, and I can't imagine going anywhere else. I just love this company.
Yeah. Now, tell me about the water and, you know, how it comes about.
Well, you have to understand that when the water falls out of the sky, it cleans the air. And while that sounds amazing, all the garbage in the air from the jet fuel to the smoke to the dust, all the smoke coming from the factories. It's why we have such hazy air, and that's why the only time you can see the mountains is after a good rain.
And in the Central Valley, you can add all sorts of other, you know, aerosol stuff that's used in the agriculture industry, which helps agriculture, but it rises up into the air, and, you know, the rain brings it back down, right?
Well, it gets worse than that. When they pull the water out of Fresno, they're pulling it out of the aquifer. And the reason why we had the drought that we had as far as how we were affected is because the water table kept dropping.
Right.
And that's why wells were going dry in Madera and stuff. You know, if the water table is 126 feet below the ground and your well's 125, you're sucking air. But the thing is that they pull up pesticides that were banned in the 70s, like trichloropropane and DBCP. They pull up all kinds of industrial waste. We've been hammering the aquifer for decades, and we're just sucking it right back up out of the ground. And, you know, they have to filter it and they have to disinfect it, but they're just handing it back to us. We literally are recycling water over and over and over.
And so, Nuvia, tell me about it.
Well, the Nuvia system, we want to ambush the water before it ambushes you.
Okay.
Okay, so we tap into the main outside. We run it through a tank or two, depending on how big the family is and what they want. But we want to get out the calcium, magnesium, and carbonate. We want to get out the stuff that wrecks all your faucets and your shower head and your glasses and your shower glass.
Right.
We want to get out the insecticides and pesticides. We want to get out whatever disinfectant they're rolling. And you have to understand that a lot of people bought systems 3 years ago or longer, and those systems were set up just for chlorine. Here in Fresno and every other city that I'm aware of, because I've tested them all, they use chlorine and then they go to chloramine. And chloramine is a bleach molecule wrapped in ammonia, and it's very stressful on older systems. In fact, it just wrecks the media. So once that media is wrecked, it doesn't matter what disinfectant they're running, it's coming through. So chlorine gets through or chloramine gets through. And my main focus on when I'm in a home is, yeah, getting out the stuff that wrecks your appliances is nice, but I want to get the stuff out that's wrecking you, and especially the kids. I mean, that lady you had on earlier, she's all about the children. When I put my shoes on in the morning, for me, it's all about the children, especially unborn children.
Right.
You'll absorb more of this disinfectant in a 15, 20-minute shower, maybe than you would drink in weeks.
Yeah. And, okay, so this is an in-home installation, right? Mm-hmm. And you say, 1, possibly 2 tanks or what, depends. So
Depends on the size of the family.
All right. What is, without giving any, proprietary information out, what is that tank? What is within it? Tap water goes in. Good water, I'm going to use good water comes out.
That is when I'm training somebody, I always say, break it down like you could explain it to a third grader. Bad water in, great water out. Mm-hmm. When the water goes through the media, which is the separate materials in the tank,
right?
It strips out the stuff that causes the water spots, and that's a very big deal because it also prolongs the health of your plumbing and your appliances.
Okay.
On top of that, by stripping that out, when you take a shower, it actually flushes out your pores, which allows your skin to heal. Secondarily, we also attack the disinfectant. And the media that takes out the disinfectant also removes lead. It also removes the pesticides. So what we're giving people, first and foremost, is water that's safe to touch. Yeah. Water that actually, you can use 20% of the normal soap or detergents that you use. Well, we also provide all the cleaning products. But then once all that's done, we make the water safe to drink as well by running it through an RO. And the reverse osmosis, it's kind of like trying to push water through this microphone. The holes are a 1/2 millionth of diameter, 1/2 millionth of an inch. So if it's a 1/2 millionth or bigger, it doesn't make the grade. So we purify the water so that you can actually trust it to give it to your children, to your critters, to yourself.
Okay. Now, once the installation is made, is there maintenance that has to, go along with this?
Sure. It's a very minimal amount, though. I call our systems fire and forget.
Okay.
At my house, I have the top of the line system because I'm the water guy.
Yeah.
And but I add a couple bags of salt every 4 months, and bags of salt at Walmart are $5. Now, depending on how bad your water is at your house, which is why we test house by house, you can run. You might have to swap out your reverse osmosis filters every year, like say Hanford and Lemoore.
Right.
Because their TDS, the microparticles are so high, or Los Banos. But there's areas where the TDS is under 50. And for me, I'll run my filters 2 or 3 years because I test my water every day. I know my water inside out. I'm really particular about it.
So we call you a water freak, huh?
Well, you know what? And
that's not a bad thing. But this is something that the homeowner can do themselves. We don't have to have a maintenance person come out, or is this?
No, we can come out and check it. I mean, a lot of the people, they put me in their phone as Erick the water guy.
Okay.
My name can get lost easily in a phone with 500 contacts.
Right.
But I've had a bunch of calls since COVID broke out. Please, Erick, come back and test my water. Just make sure it's okay. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'll do that.
Yeah.
I have no problem doing that. In fact, we are a family company, and we want everyone that's part of us to be part of our family. I mean, when I put a system into somebody's house, they are part of my family now, and I have every single one of their phone numbers, and believe me, when they call, I call back.
Awesome. That's great. great customer service.
Oh, we're all about that.
Yeah. I like the idea of the product. Water, we were talking before we went on camera, try doing without it. But, the next worst thing of doing without it is having to do with bad water. And bad water can do very bad things.
We got to understand that, and most people don't. They buy Tide and they buy Dawn, they buy Cascade, and they get Cascade with jet dryer finish. Mm-hmm. Literally, we're buying chemicals off the shelf to fight the chemicals that are coming into our house unchecked. So it's chemical warfare at the sink, at the laundry room.
Most interesting thing I noticed a long time ago in my I'm on a private well, like I told you, but you buy this real soft, fluffy towel. Oh, it's wonderful, And a length of time later, you pick up that towel, and it's almost like sandpaper. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't figure it out, and then one day I realized, it's all the calcium and stuff that the towel has absorbed that doesn't go away, and your Dawn and your various other, it doesn't get rid of it. It's there. Well, if it's there, that means it's everywhere else that water goes, and that can be very up close and personal.
It is more than you know.
Yeah.
You can only get as clean as the water you rinse with.
Yeah.
Your clothes can only get as clean as the water you rinse with. Now, when you take something like Tide that's got 22 chemicals in it, including April Fresh scents and all that, it doesn't dissolve in hard water. So your towels are literally telling you that they're full of detergent.
Yeah.
More than the calcium in the lime. Yes,
Yeah.
it's there too, but that's why when you use a washcloth a few times, it gets stiff as a board because you keep adding soap, but the soap isn't squeezing out.
Yep.
So you're wearing Tide right now, and then you sleep on top of and underneath Tide at night.
Now you're making me feel bad.
I'm not trying to, but I have to explain this to people
No, I
all the
get that,
time.
yeah.
Is that when you have skin conditions like eczema and psoriasis, and detergent is a skin irritant.
It is.
So you go out and work out in the yard, like say when the temperature gets back up and you get a heat rash, well, that's your skin reacting to the undissolved detergent in your clothes.
Okay, you tickled a gray cell, and a question came to mind.
Uh-oh.
Given the times that we're in and the virus and stuff, and people go out and they keep their social distancing and they wear their masks, and they do all the good stuff, but they're still out and about. There's still a possibility of some kind of random contact. Most people, when they get home, at least the way I understand it, is they should probably disrobe, get rid of things, and shower and themselves and stuff. But what about the virus and stuff that they may have come into contact with, and interacting with what I'll say is bad water versus interacting with clean water? There may not be any science in that, Eric, but to my mind it makes sense that maybe I want the best kind of water to clean myself with, so that I can be more assured that I'm not dealing with things that probably I don't want to deal with, but maybe because the kind of water, like you said, showering, you absorb, and we know, at least my understanding is, that if you've got water that's clean, it will have a greater tendency to wash off, whatever it is that it's flowing over, versus water that is full of stuff that kind of pauses and reflects before it seeps into the skin, right?
Well, it's hard to answer that question, Steve, but I can tell you this. Whatever you rinse with your water
Yeah.
will only get as clean as the water you rinse with. Now, in regards to COVID, I have a different concern about that, and it's really simple. This is a respiratory thing,
Yeah.
and it causes respiratory failure. I'm married to a respiratory therapist. We've had lots of conversations about it. And when you realize, like, you can go to ewg.org, which is it's a national website, and they will break down the water for every zip code and town, basically, in America.
Really?
And like in Fresno, there's 40 different things that are known to cause respiratory illness and cancer and all kinds of crazy things, reproductive damage, neurotoxins. It just goes on. And you can click on each individual thing and get a full education of it. but a lot of the things that are in our water are caused by putting chlorine in the water. And it says chlorine and other disinfectants. The other disinfectant is ammonia. So when you take that and you add it to, when you add that to vegetation, which is what we are all about here, that mixes together and it creates methane gases and bromoform and chloroform. And once you go stand in the shower, you're breathing those gases. They are truly exacerbated by heat.
You know, Eric, this is more scary than watching one of those scary movies that you can watch while you're locked in the house. Going through that list of stuff, it's like, you know, boom, 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 the next, you know, terrible thing. Maybe it's time that we want to clean up our water.
I would say so. And, you know, the funny thing is that because we replace your need to buy bottled water and we replace the need for all of your cleaning products, basically letting what you're giving to Walmart or Winco pay for your system.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool way we do it because, one, we get all the chemicals out of your house, and you can make up to 50 gallons of purified water a day at your house.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can fill a lot of bottles with that.
You can. And, and the cool thing is, and here's something that people don't understand, there's a fan in your bathroom, okay? And those fans have been mandatory since 1972 when Congress passed what's called the Clean Air Act. Those little bathrooms that we stand in are highly toxic because it's an enclosed area where we're breathing that gas. Those fans are not designed to defog your mirror. They're designed to suck out that stuff so that you're not just standing there absorbing it and breathing it. And you know, the funny thing is nobody knows about that until I actually show them.
And, you know, showers, steam fills the air, you breathe it in, you know, you're not just breathing in air, you're breathing in the water that has become steam and all that stuff that we were just talking about that was in the water. Yeah, well, now it's going in through my lungs.
Right.
And that's probably not a good thing.
It's a terrible thing.
There you go. Well, okay. You sold me. I like this. How do I get a hold of you?
Well, you can call me on my phone number, which is 559-903-4850, or you can find me on online, Erick, which is ERICK, at nuviawater.com.
Okay. Awesome. And what's that website again to find out, you know, by zip code?
EWG.org, and you'll get a drop-down list, and second or third down will be the tap water database. Once you hit that, all you got to do is type in your zip code, and you'll get another drop-down of where you live.
Okay, so you do that, you drop it down, and your hair stands up after you see what you're drinking. Get a hold of Erick at Nuvia Water. Water is much more important than just, you know, satisfying your thirst. Thanks for being with me, Erick. I'd shake your hands, but, you know, right now we're doing the, you know, whatever thing.
Air fist bump.
There you go.
And Steve, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, we're just trying to help as many people as possible because that's what we're all about. And luckily, we're in the industry where we can continue helping people while everybody's shut down.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
I'll see you when we come back.